This was my first build of a Intel based Power Mac G5. So I took a Power Mac G5 case. I think this was a dual processor 2.7 gigahertz system. Pretty much old hat, not worth bothering with really. But I like the look of the cases, and I love a Mac. I've got a iMac sat behind here and some other bits and bobs, and I quite like Apple products, the design and the look. But I didn't really have the heart and the cash to splash on a new i7 Mac Pro. So this was the second resort for me, also the next resort. So I bought this G5 case, and after a bit of research I found that you can buy motherboard trays. If I show you the back, you can see it's got this Lian Li or something, or Lian motherboard tray, and I've cut the back of the case out to house it, and I've got the this ATX power supply bracket as well from the same company, and that's a standard ATX power supply sat on the bottom. So this is designed to hold a micro ATX, or sorry, a mini ATX motherboard, but I've positioned it as such in the case. So it's full of cables and junk, this one. I positioned it as such that you can get a full-size ATX board in there, and the board goes up and almost touches the end of the case. And I was running a Gigabyte Z87 socket board with a I don't know, i7 4770K I think processor, and so I was happy with it, but I wanted to have the motherboard mounted slightly more rigid in the case, and I also, with the motherboard I was using, had a problem where the SATA cables sat just here, and I couldn't put in the Blu-ray drive I wanted to use because they would foul the SATA connectors. So this was my first build. This was about a 650 watt power supply, Corsair power supply, cables and junk in it, and I was running a EVGA GTX 570 NVIDIA graphics card. Let's put this back on. So the old case latch works. The front panel has been rewired to work with an ATX motherboard. So the power button works and the USB works, and the audio. No firewire though. Put this one down here. And this is the Mark II. So this one, it's the same setup internally. I've just transferred everything over. But if you look at the back, you can see that in the shot. This is the full ATX motherboard tray from the same manufacturer. Power supply is actually at the top this time, and it didn't quite fit at the back because of this curve, so the power supply is slightly recessed into the case. Got this nice fan shroud or fan finger guard that came with this motherboard tray, and I've put a fair few more rivets in this time to hold this back plate in, keep it nice and sturdy. Turn it around. It's not the tidiest thing inside, but it's practical. Got an Arctic freezer, I think it is, cooler, and there's my GTX 570. Power supply sits up on top of this upper tray. I don't know if you can make it out. There's a hole for the fan, and it does sit there free really, it can move about, but it's nowhere it can go. It's got a little plastic catch at the back to hold it, and there's a bit of wire going to the kettle connector, as they call it there. I've got the original hard disk trays. They're upside down, but it just hangs here off of the upper tray, which I've cut into, well, in half really, but I've left the middle out here so my power cables can go through, and obviously got a variable speed fan on the back that the motherboard's controlling, and the cabling for the front connector, that's all wired up, and it's quite a tidy build really. Just an i7 overclocked to, I can't really remember what I've overclocked it to, 4.5 gigahertz, 32 gig of memory, and it's pretty much just slightly faster than real time to render HD video, so I'm very happy with it. That's it really. That's the fake Mac Pro if you want to call it that. Thanks for watching.